You know, every single word you speak, whether it's a simple hey or something wild like anti-disestablishmentarianism, is actually the result of a constant tug of war. Today, we're going to dive into the two fundamental forces that build our language. One of them is all about strict, predictable order, and the other, it just thrives on pure, messy creativity.
So here's the big puzzle of language, right? It has to be stable, with rules, so we can all understand each other. But at the same time, it's always changing. New words, new slang, it's constantly evolving. So how can it be both rigid and flexible? Well, the science that unravels this whole mystery is called morphology.
All right, to really get how words are built, you gotta look at their most basic building block, the morpheme. Now, a morpheme is the smallest little piece of a word that still has meaning. Think about the word unbelievable. It's actually got three morphemes. Un, which means not, believe, that's the main idea, and able, meaning can be done. These tiny little units, they're literally the DNA of language.
Okay, first up, let's meet our first character. I want you to picture the grammar manager. This is the ultimate rule follower, the meticulous, clipboard-carrying supervisor of language. Its one and only job is to make sure every single word is grammatically correct and fits just perfectly into the sentence.
So this grammar manager, its official kind of fancy title is Inflectional Morphology. And its job is not to invent new words. Not at all. It doesn't change a word's core meaning. All it does is tweak existing words just enough to show things like tense or if something's plural. It's all about making sure every word plays its part correctly.
So, the grammar manager has a very specific set of tools. First off, it guarantees what we call semantic consistency. The main meaning never ever changes. A dog is still a dog when it becomes dogs. Simple. Second, it maintains part-of-speech stability. A verb like walk is still a verb when you make it walked. It doesn't just randomly turn into a noun. Third, its rules have super high productivity, which just means they're really reliable. You can stick an ing on almost any English verb, no problem. And finally, this is crucial, it uses a closing suffix. This is always the very last thing you add to a word. Think about it. Organizations. You can't add anything after that final S. The grammar manager always gets the last word.
A really great way to think about this is that inflection is like the costume a word puts on. The actor, the word itself is the same, but the costume helps it fit into the scene to play its role correctly. It's that final finishing touch that gets applied right before a word goes out on stage. It's clean, it's predictable, and it keeps everything in order.
Okay, so we've got the orderly manager. But every team needs a creative genius, right? So now let's meet the other force, the content creator. This is the wild artist of language, the inventor who doesn't just follow the rules, but actually forges brand new paths, expanding our entire vocabulary. And yep, this content creator has a fancy name too, Derivational Morphology. Now, unlike our grammar manager, its whole purpose is to create entirely new words with brand new meanings. This is the creative engine that lets our language grow and adapt. It's how we get words for new ideas and new technologies. I mean, think about words like doom scrolling or unfriend. They didn't exist a while ago.
Now, inside the content creator's workshop, the tools are completely different. First, it causes a semantic shift. Adding un to happy doesn't just tweak the meaning, it flips it completely on its head. Second, and this is a total game changer, it performs category transformation. It can change a word's whole job, like turning the adjective kind into the noun kindness. Third, its rules have variable productivity. They're super selective, even a little quirky. You can be childish, sure, but you can't be mountainish. The creator is picky. And finally, it works much closer to the word's core, adding its pieces before the grammar manager comes in to add that final finishing touch.
So you see, this is not just a costume change. This is like linguistic alchemy, turning one word into something totally different. It's the architect that designs the word's fundamental identity, not just its temporary role in a sentence. And this whole process is what gives our language its incredible richness and all its nuance.
And hey, this isn't just some abstract theory. This is the very tool of poets and pioneers. Just think about Shakespeare. He didn't just use the words that were available to him. He famously stepped into the content creator's workshop and used these exact rules to invent words like eyeball and swagger, words we still use every single day. This is how language expands to capture new ideas.
All right, we've met our two characters, the orderly manager and the inventive creator. Now let's put them head to head. Let's really see how they differ.
Let's just break this down. When it comes to purpose, the manager is all about serving the grammar of a sentence, while the creator is about adding new words to the dictionary. For meaning, The manager keeps it the same. Walk and walked are the same basic action. But the creator changes it. Happy is the complete opposite of unhappy. With word class, the manager never changes a word's category. The creator? Oh, it does it all the time, turning the verb govern into the noun government. And finally, productivity. The manager is super predictable. The creator? Famously, wildly unpredictable. And that unpredictability, that's where things get really fun. I mean, the content creator is a genius, but it's also so quirky. We can take the verb arrive and add RAL to make the noun arrival. It makes perfect sense. But why can't we do the same with depart? Departal isn't a word. We have to say departure. Why? Well, because the content creator works from like a forest of exceptions, not some simple rulebook.
So, how do these two totally opposite forces build our language together? Because this isn't really a story about opposition. It's a story about partnership. You need both of them to create the dynamic, living system that is our language.
Look, the really crucial thing to take away is this. Language is not some dusty old list of words in a dictionary. It's a living system. We absolutely need the order from the grammar manager so we can communicate clearly, but we also need the creativity of the content creator so our language can grow, adapt, and express literally anything we can imagine. You just can't have one without the other.
And that leaves us with this one fascinating final question. We've got one force for order and another for creation. One ensures stability, the other fuels change. So, who is truly in charge of our language? Is it the strict manager who enforces all the rules? Is it the bold creator who invents the new? Or is it us, the speakers who ultimately decide which new words stick around and which rules are okay to bend? It's a question that gets to the very heart of how language lives and breathes.